Okay, so someone asked me the other day how many people I'd slept with, and I had this immediate reaction of like, why does that even matter?
See, I think the fact that you had that reaction is itself interesting, because if it truly didn't matter, you wouldn't feel defensive about it.
That's fair. But I think my defensiveness was more about the judgment baked into the question, not the number itself.
Right, but let's separate those two things. There's the question of whether the number matters for the relationship, and then there's the social judgment around it. They're different conversations.
Okay, yes, good distinction. So let's start with the relationship part. Does knowing your partner's number actually change anything?
I mean, there is some research on this. A study from the University of Utah found that people who'd had more premarital sexual partners reported lower marital quality. But, and this is a big but, correlation is not causation.
Wait, seriously? Lower marital quality? How much lower are we talking?
It was specifically that people with exactly one premarital partner, so just the person they married, reported the highest satisfaction. But once you got past like 2 or 3, the differences between 5, 10, 20 were pretty negligible.
So it's basically just saying that people who only ever slept with the person they married are happier. Which, yeah, that could mean 100 different things.
Exactly. Religious values, personality type, community pressure. The number itself might just be a proxy for a bunch of other lifestyle factors.
This is why I think body count is kind of a red herring. Like, you're not actually asking about a number. You're asking, are you someone who takes commitment seriously?
Okay, but I'd push back on that. Because someone can have a high body count and take commitment incredibly seriously. Those things aren't opposites.
No, I agree. That's my point. The number doesn't tell you what you actually want to know.
But here's where I think people who care about it have a point that often gets dismissed. Knowing someone's history does tell you something about their relationship to intimacy. It's data.
You think so?
I do. Not that it should be the determining factor, but pretending it's completely meaningless information feels dishonest to me.
I think I disagree with you there, though. Because the number without context is genuinely meaningless. Was it 10 one-night stands or 10 meaningful relationships? That's wildly different.
Sure, context matters, but that's an argument for having a deeper conversation about it, not for avoiding the topic entirely.
Okay, let's talk about the double standard, though, because we can't not. The judgment is overwhelmingly aimed at women.
100%, and that's where the social judgment piece gets really ugly. Men with high numbers get celebrated, women get shamed. That part is indefensible.
There was a study, I think it was from the archives of sexual behavior, where they found that both men and women judged women more harshly for having more partners, even women judging other women.
That's wild, but also not surprising if you think about the cultural programming around it. Thousands of years of purity culture doesn't just vanish.
Right, and I think that's what makes the body count question feel so loaded. It's never just a neutral question. It comes wrapped in all that baggage.
Agreed, but I'd separate the question from the baggage. The question itself can be asked in good faith. It's the reaction to the answer that reveals someone's character.
Ooh, I like that framing actually. It's a test of the asker more than the answerer.
Exactly. If you ask and then can't handle the answer, that's a you problem.
But here's my thing, and this is where we might disagree again. I don't think you should ask at all. What good comes from knowing?
I think radical honesty in relationships is important. If you can't talk openly about your past, what does that say about the foundation you're building?
But there's a difference between honesty and full disclosure. I can be completely honest with my partner without giving them a spreadsheet of everyone I've been with.
Ha, fair. But I think if your partner asks directly, dodging it creates more suspicion than just answering.
You know what I've noticed, though? The people who are most obsessed with the number tend to be the most insecure. It's almost always a retroactive jealousy thing.
That's a real thing, actually. Retroactive jealousy is a recognized psychological pattern. Some therapists specifically treat it because it can become genuinely obsessive.
Right, like people spiraling about their partner's ex from 6 years ago. At that point, the number isn't the issue, the anxiety is.
I'll agree with that. If knowing the number is going to make you spiral, you probably shouldn't ask. That's emotional self-awareness.
So where do we land on this? Because I feel like we're circling something.
I think we're both saying the number itself is pretty useless as a metric, but the conversation around it, about values, about what intimacy means to you, that conversation matters.
Yes, ask better questions. Don't ask how many. Ask what are you looking for? What does this mean to you? What have your past relationships taught you?
And if someone volunteers their number and it bothers you, sit with why it bothers you before you react, because 9 times out of 10, it's about your own insecurity.
And for the love of everything, apply the same standard to yourself that you apply to your partner.
Low bar, but apparently it needs to be said.
The lowest bar, and yet here we are.
I think the real takeaway is the body count question tells you almost nothing about compatibility, but how two people navigate that conversation, that tells you everything.
Yeah, that's it. It's not about the answer. It's about what happens after the answer.